What's going on, guys, and welcome to Who to Sign For. Now in this series I'm giving you my recommendations on what players to sign for a specific team in career mode. But before we go on, I will say that the signings you'll see aren't designed to be realistic and that the player ratings and potentials may vary depending on what database you're using and how they perform for you during the season. You don't have to follow all the tips. This is really just a set of guidelines to give you a hand if you're stuck for ideas and want some suggestions on what players you could sign for a certain club. This is mainly aimed at those of you out there who may be new to the game and just want some help, or for those of you out there who may be stuck for ideas on what players you could sign for a certain team in career mode. So in today's episode of Who to Sign For, guys, I know it's been a while. I do apologize for the delay in getting a new episode up. We are going to take a look at the Italian giant Milan. Yes, the Italian giant Milan. Now, of course, in recent years, they haven't been playing like the Italian giants Milan. That's mainly just the fact that Juventus have been dominating Italian football. They are still a very big club in world football, a massive club, and to me, I grew up watching Milan play when they were a really awesome side. In recent years, not quite as good, but still in terms of club stature and club size, they'll always be, in my opinion, a massive club in world football. So we're going to take a look at the side from San Siro anyway, and this episode really a guideline, the Who to Sign For series, a guideline to try and help you get Milan back to that massive club in terms of on the pitch performances, and hopefully today I'll give you some good suggestions for players to sign, players to sell, and try and take this team back to the top of not just Italian football but European football as well. Now with Milan, as you take them over here in the Who to Sign For episode, when I take over, I showed you on the pitch objectives, the squad report, and how the team's set up as well. The objectives for Milan in the first season are to finish in a Champions League place, or a top 3 finish in the Serie A, reach the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia, and you got to do that with a £37.8 million budget. Was it £37.8 million? I think it was £37.8 million budget. Now when you take a look at Milan's side, then take a look at the squad report right here and how it's currently set up in the first 11 as well, playing a 4-3-3. It's a pretty decent team, you know, it's an alright team. It's got some decent players in there, a couple good youngsters as well. Donnarumma, of course, being the standout player, really, the 17-year-old already number 1, although he's wearing number 99, I think he is, for Milan to San Siro. How about that? Already the first choice goalkeeper of Milan, just 17 years old, tipped to be the next Gianluigi Buffon. They got Romagnoli at the back as well, very talented young defender with a big future ahead of him too. It's a pretty decent team, and as for contracts as well, a few players have 1 year left on their deals. I would give contracts to Mastor and also another youngster as well called Crosciata, is that how you pronounce that? But they're not at 23 or over yet, so you can wait until the end of the season before giving them deals. And I would give a new contract to De Sciglio as well, a versatile fullback and play on either side, a very decent young player that I do believe has 82 potential as well and is worth keeping at the San Siro. So offer De Sciglio a contract and wait until the end of the season for the other 2 youngsters. And as for players loaned out, they've got quite a few players loaned out right now. I say quite a few, quite a lot of players loaned out. I'd leave everyone loaned out, but there is one player I would recall, and that is Diego Lopez. Now, of course, I would still recommend keeping Donnarumma in goal, although Lopez is a few ratings higher in the overall. So I'd recall Lopez from his loan spell in Spain right now. He's a very decent Spanish goalkeeper, no doubt about it, and if you want, you can use him as your number 1 and have Donnarumma on the bench waiting in the wings to take over. But I would recommend recalling Diego Lopez to sell him. It'll only cost you about £400,000 to recall him. You can afford that at Milan with £38 million in your budget, then look to sell him and make a few million on him, as him being out on loan right now is doing nothing for you. So make sure you recall Diego Lopez, either to use him in your first team or to sell him for an extra few £1,000,000. Now as for signings for Milan, there are a few players that I'll be targeting in this Who to Sign For episode, and to be honest, when I do these episodes, I always say there's like one key word that sort of sums up the episode. I would say the key word for this episode of Milan is transition. This is a good Milan side, but it's got quite a few aging players, as you would have seen by the squad report. One is Diego Lopez, who I like to sell here. You want to make sure that in season 1 with Milan, you make the priority selling on those players that are deadwood, shipping them on, and bringing in younger replacements for those players. It's very important you do that, because again, it does have some decent young players in it, this Milan squad, but it's got players that are in their 30s, have contracts that come the end of the year, like Keisuke Honda right here as well, who will let go to Liverpool for, in the end, £7.5 million. You want to sell these players and bring in the younger replacements, and even if they're not 30 years old yet, like Luis Adriano, for example, who we let go to Stoke for £8.5 million, you want to bring the replacements in for these guys straight away and basically lay down the groundwork straight away, because the objective objectives in the first season, qualify for the Champions League and also reach the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia, those are objectives you can definitely do. You're thinking about the long-term future with Milan, and those sort of players don't have a long-term future at Milan. So the first season really is all about the transition and laying down the groundwork. So again, you want to sign those younger players straight away and ship on the deadwood. So I know you may be sitting there thinking, you know, are you going to sign a headline player in this episode? Like sometimes when I'm managing a big club in this series, I'll sign a big headline player, 86 overall plus, for example, that's sort of the star of the team, will become the star of the team. Not in this episode, not with Milan. That's not my recommendation. You can, if you want, spend £38 million on a really great player and hope that they themselves will be the one to bring success to the San Siro once again. But I would say personally, it's all about gradually building the team up, selling on those deadwood players, bringing in those younger faces that in the future, together, collectively, will make this Milan side a far better team. So for Bilotti, we spent £16 million on the guy to bring him in from Torino, and it is quite a bit of money for a 79 overall player. But again, you got to remember, this guy is 24 years old, but has 85 potential. You'll see his stats in just a moment's time. I think I show his stats again. You will see him anyway a few minutes ago. He's got some very decent passing stats and some very, very decent stats to begin with. And when this guy hits his peak at 85 overall, you know he'll be a really, really awesome player through the heart of your midfield and a really talented midfielder to have. Also as well, something quite interesting as well. You may have noticed a bid just came for this guy here as well. Paletta, a 30-year-old, another player I'm trying to sell here from Bologna. For some reason, he never ended up going there. We accepted a £4 million bid. He just never went. He just decided to leave them in suspense, and he just ended up staying there. And in the end, as you'll see, he ends up going to Torino. But anyway, there's Bilotti stats. You see what I mean? They're technically very, very good player and a really awesome player to play for the middle of the park. And again, at full potential, he'll be an absolutely awesome player at 85 overall. But anyway, another player I'd recommend signing for Milan is this guy right here as well, Bilotti. You notice me selling Luis Adriano for Stoke for £8.5 million. This guy is the same overall. He'll cost you a few £1 million more. And again, you might be sitting there thinking, well, why do that? Why not just keep Luis Adriano and keep your cash as well? Well, it's because Adriano is 29 years old and this guy is 22 years old. They're the same overall, but Adriano is not going to grow any more ratings, whereas Bilotti gets to 86 potential. So again, the first season, it's about that transition. It's about laying down that groundwork. It's about making sure you have the future already planned out and mapped out at the San Siro for Milan. You want to make sure that you know what direction you're going to take this club in, and that's forward with lots of good young players with high potential as well. So in the end, I think we agreed a £15 million deal with Torino for Bilotti. Yes, we did. And we go ahead and sign this guy as well. Our second signing here with Milan. And again, it's all about bringing in those younger faces. And I do understand that a lot of people don't like to do this. They'd rather keep the players here and worry about it later. But trust me, I really do believe that with a side like Milan, they don't have the biggest budget, but do have a big enough budget. The most important thing is making sure you lay down the groundwork in season one, and especially when you're given generous aims like the board have given you, not expected to win silverware in the first season. You're given time to work with this Milan side, so use it. Use the time. Don't go all out to sign one massive player and just hope he's going to, bring you a domestic double in the first season. No, gradually build the team up, make it better, and then eventually in season 2, season 3, season 4, then you can start targeting silverware. The first season is not about targeting silverware. The first season is about making that transition from an older team to a younger team. So Bilotti was a second signing I'd recommend, and another signing I'd recommend is this guy here as well, another young Italian player with very good potential, Daniele Rugani, the Juventus centre-back, 22 years old, 79 overall, a very decent player, valued at £11 million. They came back to us, said they wanted £17 million for the guy. I think we got £13 million in the end accepted, so a little less than what they were asking for, and this guy has 87 potential. So you see exactly what I'm doing here, bringing in the good young Italian talent to the San Siro, and Rugani for £13 million is an absolute bargain, because you might sit there and think, well, he's costing you more than what he's worth right now. That's true. I'm not going to deny that. The facts are there. Valued at £11 million, we're offering £13 million. But imagine this guy at his full potential. He grows to 87 overall, possibly even more, with training and good form and development as well. At 87 overall, the guy is going to be an absolute monster at the back line, and him and Romagnoli as your centre-back partnership from season 1 onwards, they will be an absolutely unstoppable, or unbeatable, I should say, back line for you in centre-back partnership as well. So bring in Rugani as well, another signing I recommend of £13 million. It's an absolute bargain. And as for more signings as well, I keep on bringing in these good players here. This guy's not exactly in the category of young at 25 years old, but he's not too old either. Alessandro Florenzi of Roma, valued at £17.5 million, 25 years old, 82 overall right back. I've signed this guy before, I've used him before. He is a really, really awesome player to have. He's got extremely high stamina at 92 overall. 92 overall? No, I wish he was 92 overall. He's got extremely high stamina at 92. He's a very, very decent player. And one of the best things about Florenzi is that he's a really versatile player as well. He can play right back, he can play further forward and right wing role as well. He can play central midfield too. You look at his stats right here, technically speaking, he can do it all. This guy can do literally everything. He's such a versatile player, a great utility player, and a really handy player to have in your Milan side. So another player I'd recommend bringing in, and again, starts off 82 overall and grows to an 85 overall at full potential. So he's the ideal successor for Abate. And also for another new signing as well, I would recommend bringing in an old Milan player, a former Milan player, 23 years old, Stephan El Shaarawy, once tipped to be one of the brightest young players, or he was one of the brightest young players in world football. An extremely talented player. He's got 5-star skills in the game as well. Bring him back to the San Siro. Very, very decent player. And again, starts off 81 overall, valued at £19.5 million, and he gets to 86 potential at his full peak. At his full potential, when he's peaking, he's got 86 overall. So a very, very handy player. Bring him back to the San Siro. He cost us £24.5 million, so £5 million over his valuation. Yes, a little bit of an overspend, but again, you got to think about the future with these players when you're bringing them in. You're not looking about what they can do for you right now, but also what they can do for you in the future. He'll be an amazing player at full potential. He'll still slide into your first team right now anyway, and he'll be a great player to bring back to the San Siro. And for £24.5 million for a player that's got 86 potential and has those lovely 5-star skills as well, I would bring him back to the San Siro. For the final signing I'd recommend for Milan is one you don't really have to do, but I thought I'd do it anyway because I tend to sign him in most of my who to sign fors. It's a third choice goalkeeper for you. Once you've sold Diego Lopez, you'll only have Donnarumma and also Gabriel, the Brazilian, as well. You might want a third choice goalkeeper. Play it safe rather than sorry. I like to have 3 goalkeepers in my team at all times just in case, because it rarely ever happens, an injury crisis or a suspension crisis, but if it does, then you're screwed. Simple as that. So bring in a third choice goalkeeper. No one too special. This guy's just 17 years old, like Donnarumma. Not quite as good, but he does start off at 63 overall and grows to 83 at his full potential. This guy will be a third choice on an extremely low deal. It's about 1.85 grand a week, which is nothing really, let's be honest here. Costing you £800,000, which again is nothing really to a club like Milan. He's only 17 years old. He'll grow ratings quietly in the background. You don't even have to play him. He'll still grow for you anyway and get better and better year after year. And again, as a third choice goalkeeper, you're not going to say no for a player that has 20 for his growth. So in the end, you spend £92.3 million on 6 new players for Milan and receive about £34.8 million for 5 players. You can see the full list of negotiations I did here as well with the club from the San Siro. And again, the key word, transition. Look at the age of the players that we're selling right here, the players that don't have much in the way of a long-term future. And look at the average age of the players we're bringing in as well. Younger players, some really good players with very good potential as well. The lowest potential player has 83 potential, that's Villa, and then 85 upwards from Florenzi, Baselli, Bilotti, El Shaarawy, and Rugani as well. So again, you're building for the future of Milan. You're laying down the groundwork in season 1, not targeting trophies, but making sure the future is very bright at the San Siro. So as per usual, we simulate to the end of the season to see how the club would get on. Well, unfortunately, I will be honest, we did fail our league objective. We were supposed to get Milan into the top 3, into a Champions League place. They fell 1 point short of doing it. How gutting was this? Even more gutting because they lost out to Inter, their bitter rivals there, who finished in 3rd place, 1 point ahead of them. They also got thrashed in the Supercoppa, how about that, by 5-0 to Juventus, but they did reach the semi-finals of the Coppa Nazionale, or the Coppa Italia, so went 1 step further than what the board wanted. So in the end, it's sort of like a failure and a success in the 3rd season in terms of on the pitch objectives, but I would still say when you look at the signings coming in, they're all developing right away, all growing ratings right from the beginning. The future is still very bright with Milan, and even though I did miss out on meeting the league objective in the 1st season, I would still consider it a pretty successful 1st year for you, because again, you're not targeting silverware, you're not looking to do anything special, you're just bringing in really good young players with very good potential, who together, when they're all at their peak, will collectively make this Milan side a really, really awesome team. So again, the 1st season is about the signings, not the silverware. That's exactly what we look to do in this Who to Sign For episode, and I think I did a pretty good job. And again, I know I failed the league objective. The one interesting thing you'll see in just a moment's time is that in the objective objectives overview category in the objective screen, apparently it says we actually did finish in a Champions League place, even though we finished in 4th place. And of course in the Serie A, it's only the top 3 places that finish in a Champions League place. So I don't really know what happened there. EA, would you like to explain another bug in your game? Probably not. But either way, we did finish in 4th place. But I would still say it's still a pretty decent season because of the signings you'll make. It's all about making sure you bring in those young potential players. And that's exactly what it did as well. Despite spending a lot of money, I would still call it a pretty successful season by bringing in so many awesome young Italian players. But that will end today's episode of Who to Sign For, guys. So a big thank you for watching. I really hope you have enjoyed it. The one thing I'll say, a closing statement on this episode, is that Milan are a really awesome foreign side to manage in the career mode for you. Again, they need a lot of work, no doubt about that, but it's a really fun team, a pretty generous budget, some okay objectives which are hittable in the first season, and I think you'll have a lot of fun managing the San Siro for many years to come. So a big thank you for watching the episode. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then please do leave a like. If the tips helped you, then definitely leave a like. Don't forget to leave me a comment and tell me who you'd like to see me do next in the Who to Sign For series. So thanks for watching the episode, much love to you all, and I'll see you for the next episode of the Who to Sign For series very soon.